American Pinball Tech Tips. I'm Dave Brennan, the Tech Service Manager for American Pinball. Today I'm going to be going over a top 10 list for my favorite tools in my toolbox. I get a lot of people that ask me what are some of the common tools that I'll need to have on hand when I get my first pinball machine. I'm going to go through each one of those and tell you why they're useful. Before I get started, take a look at the description in the video. I'll have a list of all these tools that you can check out. First up is a multimeter. You'll want a digital version that's capable of AC, DC voltage, as well as continuity and resistance. If you call me up for troubleshooting, a lot of times I'm going to ask you to break out your multimeter and measure some voltages for me. The next is a switch adjustment tool. This is a metal rod with slots in the end of it, and what this is for is adjusting your leaf switches. You can find these all throughout pinball, and they're used in your stand-up switches, slingshots, pop bumpers, you name it. What you do is you put the leaf blade at the bottom of the switch, and you can adjust the switch in or out depending on where it needs to be for the game. So if you have a stand-up target that is stuck closed like this, it will keep scoring those points. So you'll need to open that up a bit so it's not touching the other blade. Very useful tool. Next up is a telescoping magnet. This is very useful if you drop a screw on the playfield or in the cabinet, or if you have a stuck ball somewhere, you can get the ball out of a tight spot. A pair of needle nose pliers for general use. These are flush cut snips, and I use these a lot for circuit board repair, just general cutting wires or whatever. Very useful because they're not like side cutters. They have a flat end on them, so you can get a really nice clean cut. Next are a pair of wire strippers. These are pretty standard. They have some wire cutters in the end, as well as stripping different gauges of wire. So if you have a wire that comes off of a switch, you'll need to strip the end to solder it back on. And then we'll have a solder kit. You can find a lot of these where they'll come with a soldering iron as well as solder and a stand, and a lot of times they'll have a solder sucker for board repair, but you'll want to have a pretty inexpensive one if you're going to be soldering a switch back on. Next is an adjustable wrench. Pretty general use. Fits every size that you'd really want, but obviously you'll probably have specific size wrenches in your existing toolbox, but it's nice to have that handy. Multi screwdrivers. The reason I love these is typically or always the bit is a 1/4 inch nut driver, which is the most standard head used in pinball. And then if you have this kind that comes out, you have a 5/16, which is also a very common size in pinball. And then you can buy all kinds of different bits for them. So if you need a security bit or you need a different size nut driver, there's all kinds of stuff available for these multi screwdrivers. And then the last bit are some hex wrench sets. You'll find there's several Allen or hex wrench bolts in the game, so it's good to have a standard and metric set on hand.